to get into the kebab shop, I've got to have my third dose. All right, fully vaccinated. Let's go get a kebab. G'day. Long time no see. It's been a while. Took a bit of a break over the Christmas period just to chill out and not even look at this thing, not really do too much to it. But today, we're back into it. I'm gonna be finishing off this cowl. I finally got the dimensions, everything I need to finish off the cowl and make sure it's all straight and weld that into place. Also gonna be converting the office from an office into an engine building room because I know I've already done the engine, but I'm gonna strip the whole engine and I'm gonna rebuild it. So I want a nice clean place to do that. So I'm going to be turning this office into an engine building room. So the first thing about that is I've got to remove the doorway essentially because the engine won't fit through the human doorway. So I've got some carpentry work and some cutting and some cleaning up and moving things around going on there. I'm going to get back to the cowl panel. We're going to go for a cruise in the VL. And if you look at the back here, I don't know if you can see if it's got to focus too well, but there's a VL wagon there. There's no VL sedan in here. It's registered and it's out driving on the streets, unleashed among the people. It's terrifying. So later tonight, we'll be going to go see the new Jackass movie. We'll go for a kebab run in the VLs. We'll take the wagon, we'll take the sedan. So I'll take them, go get some kebabs later on tonight and go watch some Jackass. So yeah, bit of an action-packed morning here. We're gonna start off with the office, move all that around. I've got a CNC machine in there as well, a little CNC machine to do some little things. I'll be doing some cool custom stuff with some aluminium later on in the build. Some little dress up bits for the engine bay and the dash and all that sort of cool stuff. I'm gonna rearrange that. We're gonna go back to the cowl on this, make sure everything's all right. I'll show you how I did that and we'll see how we go. We've also got, you see a new black ute, we've got another supercharged Holden in here. So we've got Martin's White Maloo, which actually, should I do an update on that? Yeah, let's do a workshop update. First, I'm gonna open up this roller door, get some light in here and we'll do a workshop update. Let's go on with it. So I'll start back to front. We'll go from the back, work our way back to the creme de la creme, that large yellow piece of furniture sitting in the back there. But no sedan there anymore. The wagon's just being stored here to save space in the garage. So the sedan is registered. I don't believe it. It's out driving. So that's pretty awesome. That's really all the update we need there. Martin's Maloo. And Gunny's SS, he's moved that in here. He's got the chassis for his HZ, HQ, HT, HZ, HZ, HQ, HZ. No, is it an HZ? He's got the chassis for his tonner up on the hoist, teetering above his pride and joy, his SS, his supercharged SS. He's owned this thing from brand new. I remember the day that he got it 10, 11 years ago. And Daniel is solely responsible for the growth of Bowden's over the past 10 years. I think he's the only person in Australia to successfully overtake the recommended retail price of the car in amount of Bowden's products he's used on it over the past 10 years. Yeah, every weekend over the past 10 years, I reckon he's given it a full clean with the Bowden's kit. But it's been sitting here for a number of weeks collecting dust. It's the latest member of the Furniture Car Club. So what piece of furniture is this? Comment what piece of furniture you reckon the SS is. I mean, it's not really storage. Like Martin's ute is a IKEA Beska shelf. The wagon is that comes and goes. It's not really furniture, which is strange. I don't know what it's doing here. The XA, this is, I wouldn't call it IKEA. It's not quite that structurally rigid. IKEA is pretty solid. So this is probably Kmart, the Anko range of their shelving units. Yeah, so that's a Kmart shelf. What's the SS? It's like a bit of dust there. It's preventing the dust from getting on the floor, which is nice. So it's like a floor protector. It's like a big black floor mat. And then in the XA, you would have seen last episode, we took the rear glass out, found there was not much there. So now we know that this is in place, so we're going to be able to start welding this cowl back on, repairing this cowl, and then putting the upper cowl on. And then that'll all be done. The engine bay, I'm going to blast the engine bay, I'm going to strip the engine bay, and then I think I'm just going to send it to the panel shop to get the rest of it done. Because in the I can have this thing, I'll do the pillars first. I'll fix these pillars because, I mean, look at these bloody pillars. Look at these pillars, eh? Look at that. Hey? It's just completely eaten away for us. So yeah, that's the current update. Not too much going on, especially with Martin's ute. So now we can get into what I was talking about before with the office. The first things first, we've got to take out this little section here so I can roll the engine in and out. The reason I'm turning this into an engine room is because it was the office for a previous business that I was running. Now I'm not doing that. It's basically just turned into a bit of a storage. It's just dead space here. I've got CNC set up here. I didn't bring the computer in for it today, but basically it's just a small setup there, so I can do wood, aluminium, all that sort of cool stuff. Basically that's just going to allow me to make a few little custom parts for the build, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, pretty excited about that. But we move this around, get rid of all this shit, move this stuff around, relocate some of these carpet tiles around, move the bloody whiteboard and all that sort of crap, and set this place up to strip down the 351 and rebuild it and just see just how bad it is. Because I mean, I'd love to just slap it in and just save time and not have to rebuild it, but let's be honest, the amount of times you hear about just slapping an engine back in because it was running when it came out. It was running when it came out. And then 100 meters down the road, your fucking carburetor lands in the tray of your ute or something like that. So yeah, we're gonna be stripping it down and rebuilding it. But yeah, so let's get into that. Let's start stripping that out so we can start working on the ute. Now that... Is that a moped on the red line? It is. Now that the engine room's been built and that's all sorted, I'm just gonna start tackling this before I leave. So I've pretty much found the exact spot where this needs to sit. It's all lined up. The pillars are in place now, which was a huge concern of mine. Okay, now remember when I said that it all lined up perfectly? Might not be the case. A smidge, by a literal smidge. It does line up, the windscreen fits in there perfectly, but this cowl just doesn't line up the way that it should. Ish. So all these holes line up where I did the silly goose thing and drilled through them instead of using an actual spot weld bit. But just here, I remember distinctly when taking this off, that little corner bit there was up around here. So to bring this corner bit into the corner here, this pillar just needs to, just the tiniest bit. The tiniest bit. So I'm going to attempt that. So I've got the come along, or the block and tackle hooked up. We're going to see if this works. When making this pillar, this was so reinforced that I'm starting to think that the pillar that I didn't recreate is going to be the one that pulls along. So this will be interesting. start again. Alright, you can see I put a mark there for where 40 was, and now it's moved about 6 or 7 mil over. So it's closed this gap by about 6 or 7 mil. It's been warped because it's been out of the car for so long. When I did the electrolysis on it originally, one end of it was sitting in a bin and it actually ended up getting warped, like it was pointing down, and that side actually ended up getting warped, which you can see. If we go front on, this bit goes a bit down and this bit sort of warps up at the top. That little black surface is starting to point more towards me than it is the sky. So that was my bad, but I know that, and basically when I unwarp it and make this level again, that's basically where it's sat, and that is bang on where I wanted that corner. That's nice and level again. You'll see the convenient rust hole for the strap to go through. So that means I can weld that into place, or tack it into place, tack that side into place, and undo that strap. Same on this side, convenient hole for the chain to pass through, so I can actually weld it whilst it's still together and have no issues getting it out. So that's actually quite handy. Love that. Alright, now comes the time to release the block and tackle, and hopefully, I know it'll move a little bit, it'll move a smidge, but it should straighten this out a little bit. These holes are all still lining up, which is what you want. I don't know, is it? I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. That's the point of this channel. As a mechanic, I enjoy doing the suspension parts and the engine and taking things out, but God, when it comes to bodywork, no. Just no. Bodywork. No wonder blokes charge so much for bodywork. They deserve it. Alright, no going back now. It's welded in. I feel like I'm going to come back to this moment in a few episodes' time when I'm putting something on the car and I'm like, oh, it doesn't line up. God, I wish I could go back to when I welded that thing in. Yeah, there's no going back, buddy. It's got to line up now. It's just gotta. So now, the next bit, I'm going to get the brass hammer, and I'm going to be putting it under here so I can fill in some of these holes and get this front section bolted on. It's welded in. I know I'm standing here, so I just need to get some fresh air. I don't know how welders do that all day. I'm sweating, absolutely dripping. But the cow's in, so use that brass hammer, just went underneath it and just filled in the holes, and it was a million times easier than what I thought it would. I thought it would blow the steel back and the steel would just keep creeping back, but it actually just stayed there, filled in like a pool, and looks pretty good by my standard. So that's it along there. So that's that. I'm happy with where it is now. That's a huge step because, as you know, that's been the one thing holding up a lot of the progress, is this whole section. So now that's done, finally put in these little ears here that go there and do all that, and it's sort of renewed a bit of motivation that I did lose a bit of motivation for this, but after putting that in there and welding that in, that's just a huge hurdle over. It wasn't even that much work. It was just the lining up and the measuring that was like, ugh, and waiting to make sure the windscreen fit and everything. So there we are. Now we're getting fully back into it. So next week, to get that finished, I'm probably going to go and order the upper plenum, the brand newie, because the other one I cutting pieces getting out because it was totally wrecked. It was made of fiberglass and steel, so yeah. But let's cut to last night when Ash and I went to the movies and the VLs. We took the VLs for a bit of a cruise, so enough of this shit. Let's have a bit of fun and roll the tape. On my way to Ash's place, I'm driving the VL wagon. I thought I'd dress appropriately. You know, wear the Ford hat and the Tirana mullet cigarette snakebite shirt by Butts. So the wagon's a 5-speed manual, just an NA RB30. Just clean, nice looking. Well, I'm gonna shift gears here with one hand. I forgot to bring the GoPro mount. So you're getting gear stick cam. But Ash has got the sedan, the turbo sedan. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a VL cruise to the movies to go watch the new Jackass movie. And of course, you can't take 2 VLs somewhere without stopping by a kebab shop. So I'll be stopping by a kebab shop, getting some kebabs, and going to the movies. So in classic VL fashion, I'm trying to take a nice photo and it needs repairs.